All right, good morning. We're going to start our practice today sitting comfortably in the seat. So I invite you to lean back into the chair a little more if you like. You can scooch back, bring your hips towards the back of the seat, and then lean into the back support. And if you notice that your feet lift off away from the floor when you do that, just bring a little something underneath your feet, a pillow, folded blanket, so that your feet have something to rest into. And then take a bit of time just to settle in comfortably through the shoulders, noticing where they sit in relation to your head. And see if you can bring your head above your shoulders and your shoulders just a little further back and down. Just encouraging them to move a little bit towards the back of the chair and away from the ears. And then as we sit here, feel free to just take a few moments, softening the body, closing your eyes, or just allowing the gaze to soften away from the screen. Whatever helps you tune in to notice how you feel today and to become more conscious of the breath. The breath is something that's always there. It's always present. It's always shifting and changing depending on our health, the time of day, our physical activity, our stress. So notice the nature of your breath as it is right now. And start to feel and become aware of the inhale moving in. And be present with the exhale flowing out. And just start to notice the areas of your body that move effortlessly as you breathe. How does your body move as you breathe in? Where do you feel a little bit of a lift, more expansion, a gentle rise? And then how does your body respond to the exhale? As you let go of the breath, what happens to your belly, to your chest? So try to sense the movements of your breath deeper within your body. So if you notice tension arises in your shoulders or in your neck or even in your fingers, can those areas stay more relaxed? And try to tune in to sense each breath flowing in and down, letting your belly expand as your lungs fill. And then with each exhale, following the breath as it leaves your body, moving back out and up, leaving through the nose. So with each inhale, the diaphragm, that large muscle that helps to pull the breath into our lungs, it descends from the bottoms of the ribs down towards the abdominal cavity. And so that's going to push and displace the organs, changing the volume of our belly. Lungs are going to fill, expanding more into the side ribs, ribs themselves, stretching, widening, muscles between the ribs, moving. And then with each exhale, as we let out the breath, the diaphragm moves back up And the organs can rest back into the body, softening, releasing the breath slowly. Feeling as your lungs empty, the rib cage or rib basket, as it's sometimes referred to, slowly gets smaller. So each inhale, the volume of our lungs expands, enlarges, ribs spread wider apart. And then with each exhale, as we let go of the breath, as our lungs empty, the ribs move back in closer together, narrowing the whole rib basket to allow for that slow release of the breath. So just see if you can sense any of these movements. You can visualize them, finding that gentle sense of expansion with each inhale. And then that slow release, moving back in towards the center with each exhale. All right, and then little by little start to bring your focus out again, sensing the room and the space around you, all the while keeping this connection right here with your breath, with your body. Deepening the inhale, helping to re-energize yourself as you open your eyes, and just have a look around your space, orienting yourself. Noticing what you see, the colors, the shapes. All right. And then let's go ahead and move a little more to the front of the chair. We're going to have a bit of a flowing practice today. So let's begin by just loosening a little bit into our arms and shoulders. So let's start with the arms resting along our sides. And with each inhale, we're going to sweep both arms out to the sides and up just as high as feels comfortable in your shoulders. So you can lift your gaze as you do that if you like. And then on the exhale, taking the arms wide and back down beside you. So feeling that continue to the pace of your own breath. Nice. Each time your arms lift, see if you can maintain some of that nice length and softness in the neck. Really good. Let's go for one more. All right, and then let's take both arms out to the sides. We're going to bend the elbows, so we've got the fingertips resting right here on our shoulders. And let's start to draw circles with our elbows. We can go in one way, moving both arms together in the same direction. That's it. And again, finding any range that feels good today. So you can explore smaller movements, noticing how that feels in the shoulders, exploring larger movements, finding a greater range of motion if that's feeling good. That's it. And moving at a pace where you can sort of track your movements, where you can feel what engages and where you're moving from. Then let's go in the other direction a few times. So can we still feel the breath? Moving in through the nose and moving out through the nose. Really good. Let's go for a couple more. We're really warming up these shoulders. Yes, indeed. Whew. And then let that go and give it a little shake. Very nice. All right, so let's go ahead and find the 6 movements of the spine in a sequence that we'll repeat a few times. So let's begin with this. Bring the hands together here in front of the heart. And feel as you breathe in, let's circle the arms out and up again. And then with the exhale, we're going to take the arms wide and come forward a little bit. That's it. So as we come forward like this, open up the arms out to the sides, push a little more into your feet. That's it. And then with the exhale, let's release forearms here on the thighs and allow for a nice relaxed stretch to come into your back. And feel the breath here moving into your back. All right, as you inhale, let's push into the feet. Slowly lift ourselves up again with the arms lifting overhead. And then let's exhale the right arm down and find a nice stretch over to that side, lengthening the left side here. Feel another breath. And then coming on back upright, we'll come to the left now. Left arm down, stretching into this right side. So you're welcome to rest your bottom hand on your chair for more support, or just let it hang down. What feels better for you? What lets you be here with breath and comfort? And then inhale, lifting. Let's take both arms wide out to the sides. As we exhale, let's twist to the right. So left hand can land on either of your front legs, not your back legs. And then stretch out with your right arm as you look in that direction. So finding a gentle twist, just a nice easy check-in through the back, through the neck. Feeling another breath here. Good. As we inhale, let's take it back to center. Open up both arms wide again. And then exhale. Right hand lands anywhere on either leg, stretching the left arm to reach out as we look towards that hand. Can we soften that left shoulder away from the ear as we open through the chest to the left for another breath here. Really good. Feel your inhale take you back to center. Let's take the hands to the seat. I'll just show you the side view. So we have the hands on the seat of the chair a little behind us if possible, so that we can move our shoulders a little further back and down, and then arch the back. So lift through the front of your belly, widen and lift through the breastbone, and the head will naturally lift while keeping comfortable in the back of your neck here. That's it. And then let's feel as we exhale, folding forward, maybe this time coming a little further. It's up to you whether you want to keep your forearms here on your thighs or slide your hands down towards your ankles. Feel another breath in the back. All right. And then push into your feet, coming on back upright and pausing for a moment there. All right, lovely. So let's try that again. One more time. We'll do the whole sequence. But this time maybe we'll go to the left for the first, for each side bend and twist. So bring the palms together in front of the heart. Standing into your feet, resting into your sitting bones, feeling the spine tall. Let's feel the inhale. Float the arms up. And then feel the exhale. Take both arms wide. As you're reaching wide, lean forward without rounding the back. So we're trying to find that hip hinge movement, moving from right here at the folds of the hips, trying to keep the chest wide as the arms reach wide and back. We're strengthening into the back here for another breath. And then take it down. And again, feel free to release forward as far as feels comfortable in the back, as far as you want to take it today. And let the breath fill that back space. And then start to push into your feet. Use the support of your legs to help bring you back upright with the arms overhead again. And then let's take the left arm down, stretching into this right side. So feel free to let the left hand rest on the seat if that gives you a feeling of support. And it might let you stretch a little more comfortably into this right side here for another breath. Very good. Take your inhale back through center and exhale over to the other side, lengthening into the left side. Let's pause. Check in, sensing the breath, maybe filling this volume of space a little more. Beautiful. Breathing in, let's bring both arms open to the sides again, and let's find the twist to the left. Right hand resting on the legs, sending the left arm to stretch out. We could also turn this palm to face up, spreading more through the hand and fingers. You could even choose to bend the wrist back, finding more of a stretch there into the palm, the fingers, and the forearm. Meet it with breath. Wonderful. Take it back through center and over to the other side. Finding our twist now to the right, turning that right palm to point up to the sky, reaching out through the fingertips, letting them spread apart. And if you like, explore bending back at the wrist. Pushing out a little more through the heel of your hand. It's going to give you a good stretch through the whole palm, into the fingers and the forearm. Feel it for another breath here. Really good. Taking it back to center again. Take the hands again beside your hips or a little behind them on the seat of the chair so that you can move your shoulder blades closer together. Lift the breastbone, lift and lengthen through the belly. And it's this lifting action that's going to let your head tip back a little bit. But try to keep the back of the neck happy, spacious, comfortable as you're breathing into the front of the chest here. Excellent. And then take it down, forearms resting on thighs or taking it further down if that's feeling good. And releasing here for a couple breaths, stretching into the back. All right. And then pushing down into your feet. Use the support of your legs, pressing into the floor to help lift you slowly back upright. Sitting tall once again. All right. That's great. Let's get a little more movement now into our legs. So we're going to coordinate a little bit of movement in the legs and the arms. We'll start by moving both arms while we move one leg at a time. We're going to alternate which leg moves. So let's just begin. Maybe you can start out with your hands on the seat of the chair for a little extra support, and just make sure you're still forward on the front of the chair here so that shoulders are above your hips, head is above your shoulders. That's it. And then you're going to start to push down into your right foot to lift your left knee up. And then rest down into that left foot, raise the right knee. So as you lift and lower one knee at a time, one foot at a time, how high can your knee come up before you lean back a lot, or before maybe you round forward, or if you notice you might kind of lean to one side. So minimizing the movement through the upper body a little more. Yeah. Finding a little more strength and support through the center, up through the core as we're moving one leg at a time. All right, and then just take a moment to rest. And you're welcome to keep doing that same movement that we just did with our hands supporting you with your hands on the seat, or you could have the arms beside you, palms forward, making gentle fists, and starting to do some bicep curls. So pushing into the one foot as you lift the left knee, bending the elbows as your knee lifts, straightening the arms as your foot lowers. So this is one option. Another option is to take your arms out to the sides and keeping the elbows up at shoulder level, finding that same bicep curl, but a little more work in the upper body here. Shoulders, upper back, that's it. So choosing any of those options, hands on the seat, arms beside you, doing bicep curls, or arms out more like a T as you do those bicep curls. Feel your breath helping you out. Taking it at any pace. That feels good. Let's try for one more on each side. All right. And then let that go. Whew. And feel free to just, massage a little bit into those front thighs. We probably felt that in our hips and thighs, so massage into those areas. We also might have felt that in the shoulders, so finding some circular movements, rolling shoulders forward and up, back and down. Really nice. All right. So let's go ahead and find a little more movement. Contralateral movement this time. So we're going to do opposite leg and arm. So let's start out by just stretching. When we lift the right leg, we're going to straighten it, pushing out through the heel, and then we can bring that foot back to the floor. So lifting the other foot, pushing through the heel, letting the knee bend as the foot comes to the floor. Okay? So then, as you take one leg forward, swing the other arm forward. That's it. So opposite arm, hand stretches out in front of you as you push through the other heel. Good. Nice. Feeling these movements a couple more times. If you want, you could also take your arm higher. That's it. You could even change the orientation of your movement in the arm. It could go out and up. That's it. So these contralateral movements, really good for the brain, working both sides of the brain together. Finding some coordination. That's it, as we breathe. Last one on each leg. And then take a moment to rest. And again, just checking in with your breath here. You might bring one hand on your belly and let the other hand rest on your chest. And feel free to close your eyes if you like. And just sensing the change in your breath. Giving the breath a chance to become slower and steadier again, which will also help to slow down the heart rate. Bring a sense of calm back into the body. Really nice. All right, let the eyes open, release the hands. Let's go for a little bit more movement in each leg. Let's just keep it in the legs for now. So starting with your feet and knees pointing forward, you might want to hold on to the chair for this one as well. We're going to try not to shift on our sitting bones. So our pubic bone and navel are going to face straight ahead. Upper body is going to face straight ahead. But we're going to let each foot come out wider, just as wide as each hip lets us go. Okay? So let's go ahead and stand into our left foot, lift our right knee, and then we're going to swing it out to the side and bring it down to the floor. So it's like you can imagine you're coming up and over, a sleeping cat or something like that, a precious pet that's sleeping beside your feet and then coming back in. So let's try that on the other side. Lifting the other knee out and up and out and in. Yep. So you just want to go as far as you can go on each leg before this happens, before the whole body rotates with your leg, right? So if you don't have a huge amount of movement, that's what's likely to happen in order to give you this sense that you do. So try to be, a little more, just slow it down. It doesn't have to be big. If it's just a small step out, for me, this hip does not want to go out very far, and that's okay. So a small step is perfectly good. Finding that little bit of movement up and over, up and in, up and out, up and in. Let's go for one more on each leg. Good. All right. And then next time, I'm going to actually come more to the corner of the chair for this. I just find it a little more comfortable. So you're welcome to do that as well. Okay, we're maybe coming towards the right corner of your chair if you're facing me. So you've got your right foot pointing more off to the right, to the side, and your left foot pointing a little more forward. Doesn't have to be a full 90 degree at the hip or anything like that. So a little bit forward is fine. So finding a little bit more of a V shape with the thighs. Doesn't have to be a large V. What matters with your alignment here is that your toes are pointing with your knees. So if you've brought your hips too far and this knee is falling in, I'd suggest walking your foot back in more. So your knee and your toes point in the same direction on each leg. So with that, let's rotate through the upper body towards this left leg. So we're keeping our upper body sort of turning towards that left knee just as much as feels comfortable. And we can rest this hand or forearm on our right thigh or right inner leg and take the left arm just out to the side to about shoulder height for now. Turn the palm to face up and just notice as you rotate that palm up, can this shoulder settle away from the ear a little more? Really nice. And then let's see if we can find a little bit more of a side bend, leaning over towards the right as we send this arm up any higher. So can we stay here with our spine as we take our arm back down and up again? So we're finding the movements in our left shoulder. You might notice that your hand rotates. My palm faces down and then turns up when I'm swinging the arm up overhead. So just noticing how your arm moves, what angle feels best in your shoulder, and then pausing here into whatever angle feels best. Arm could be stretched out, arm could be sweeping way overhead, doesn't matter. What lets you be here with a little more space, but also breath. That's it. Less tension for another breath. Really good. Okay, then pressing into your feet, using the support of your legs here as well as you come on back upright and release. Okay, so I'm going to take it over to the other side. So bringing both knees in, walking over to the left corner of the chair, and then taking the left foot to face more off to the left, right foot to face more forward to the right. Okay, so finding that angle in the hips where your knees are not more narrow than your feet. So if this is happening, knees are pointing off from the toes, you can either push your knees out, or if they're not going to go there, walk your feet in closer. Okay? So standing into your feet, feeling the spine tall as we twist towards our right leg, the leg that's more in front, and then sending that left hand or forearm on the thigh, stretch out with the right arm. Yeah, so let that palm face up. Let the shoulder send it away from the ear a little more. Slide it down the back. Keeping this, let's go to the left more with our upper body. That's it. How far can you go before, things start to kind of sink with gravity? So we're trying to keep some of that length through the neck, through the waist, wide through the chest as we send this arm as high as feels good, and then taking it back down. So the spine stays put while we're moving just this right shoulder. Let's feel it a couple more times, loosening into this right side. Really good. And then last one, let's hold our stretch here. Can we press a little more into our feet? Even though we're sitting, can we still feel some of that strength from the feet up through the legs? So if we push our feet into the floor to make deeper footprints, you'll feel that support a little more. Breath helping you out here. Very good. And then pressing into the feet again to come all the way back up. Releasing to face between the feet, walking them in. Okay. If you want to come back to the front of the seat, you can take your feet again a little wider, maybe not quite as wide as they just were. And let's practice a couple sit to stand movements. Okay. So feeling yourself, maybe noticing if you can bring your feet any further back so the heels are behind the knees without lifting the heels. So how far back can you bring your feet before the heels want to lift? Okay. Where you can push down into your feet and just sort of tip your upper body forward so that you might be able to get lighter on your seat. Just finding as much of this little bit of a bounce as you can with the support of your legs. So sometimes when we do this, our knees end up coming in towards each other and we kind of sink on those inner arches of our feet. So shift the weight out to the baby toes a little more, pushing down into the floor through the feet as you send a lift up and out through the head. Yes. So find it as best you can. A couple more here. Little bounces before you return back to the chair. Okay, next time we do lift, let's hover and pause. Pause into that lift as much as you can. Maybe hands come together. You could try to bend a little more through the knees. Feel that strength in the legs. And then push into the feet to bring yourself upright. And just sort of sway the hips a little side to side here. You could have the hands on the hips. You could bring the feet a little wider. All right. Let's start out with our hands at the back of the chair. So this way we can find our feet directly under our hips. We're resting the weight down through the feet, down through the tailbone, sensing a slight lift through the front of the pelvis, front of the belly, and feeling our shoulders settle against our back. So we're close enough to the chair to bring our hands to rest on the back of it, whether we're gripping or just resting our fingers there, where we don't have to lean forward to do that, okay? So noticing that for yourself. And then let's just start to feel a bit of this lean from our ankles. So when we're leaning forward like this, the whole body is leaning forward. So there's this strong straight line from head through shoulders, through hips, down to heels, and then coming back towards the heels more. So leaning the weight forward towards the toes and then back towards the heels. So you could try this if you wanted without the hands supporting you. How far can you lean forward before maybe bum sort of goes further back or, your alignment changes? Or you feel like you're going to tip, right? That's it. So noticing what engages when you lean forward like this. You might feel it up through the back of your legs. My calves are working a little bit here. Yeah, kneecaps are lifting a little. Where do you feel it? Okay, nice. All right, and then coming back to center where we're directly over our heels, through the hips, through the shoulders, through the head. And feel the head nice and light towards the sky as we rise up onto our toes this time, sending the heels up and then slowly lowering the heels just before they land fully. Bring them up again. Doing those heel calf raises, calf pumps, this is called. That's it. This actually helps boost the circulation in our legs, helps our heart, returning the blood back to the lungs through to get oxygenated again. Yeah, it's got a long way to go, right? From the legs back up to the lungs and the heart. So feeling how your calf muscles engage, and with that engagement, with those muscles contracting and relaxing, that's helping to propel the blood back up. All right, last one. Let's try to hold ourselves up on our toes, just as high as feels good on those toe joints. And if you want to challenge your balance, take a couple fingers away off your support or float the hands off completely. Really good. And then try to lower the heels down again slowly. Whew. And then let's go ahead and find knees bending forward as the hips go straight down. That's it. So it's okay if your knees do not bend as much as mine do. It's all good, because it all depends on how far you can go, before discomfort comes in the knees. And also we're getting a good stretch here, right, into our ankles. We're asking our ankles for a lot of movement without lifting the heels. So we're getting a bit of a stretch through this into the back of the ankle and up into the calves. So it's a good one to do after those calf raises. That's it. And this is an important movement to maintain, to allow for you to go up and down stairs with ease, with a little more movement through the knees and the ankles. Yeah. All right. And then come on back upright. Whew. Take a moment to pause, catch the breath. All right. So let's go ahead and just find a couple of half sun salutations, which means we're going to start here. We're going to go forward. We're going to have our hands on the chair and step back into downward dog, and then forward again and back up, reversing all of that. So I'm going to demonstrate it with my hands staying fairly high on the back of the chair. You're welcome to also use the seat of the chair. I'll get to that after I do the first one, say first or second. So let's begin here. Maybe taking the arms along the sides. As you inhale, let's float the arms overhead as far as feels good. On the exhale, let's take ourselves down through center and release over the legs a little more. Yeah, so hands are welcome to come to the chair. Inhale, sort of lengthen and lift the spine a little more, finding more length through the back, more strength there. And then with your hands down on the chair, step your feet, walk them back until they're below the hips. So you just want to be sure here that your knees are a little bit bent. So you can push your hips back more. That's it. As you send your head forward, hips are moving back. So finding that balance of hips back and head forward. Noticing what you feel here into your back, your sides, your shoulders, wherever it happens to be for you. Breathe into that sensation. Good, and then take your time to walk your feet back to the front and release as far forward as feels comfortable over those legs. That's it. And then start to walk your hands up the chair if you like, coming all the way up, sending the arms overhead and exhaling the hands back down through center. So let's try it again. I'll demonstrate this time with the hands on the seat. You can try it out if that felt good in the back, if it felt like enough stretch for you to keep the hands higher, just stay there. All right, let's feel as we inhale, our arms float up. As we exhale, we can take our hands down through center and fold ourselves forward, taking our hands to the chair for support, walking them lower on the chair as you wish. That's it. And then with your inhale, come up about halfway. So meaning you're trying to find where your spine is long and strong, where your chest widens, where your neck lengthens. That's it. So this is more like a table pose. And then from here, we'll step back, downward facing dog again. That's it. So here in your downward dog, feeling free to keep the knees a little more bent. That's it. And really trying to feel like your hips are moving further back while your head reaches towards your hands. Can you feel that space for the breath to move into side ribs, back ribs? Excellent. And then again, let's walk our feet forward until we're in that half Uttanasana, which is standing forward bend, and then releasing as far forward as you want. Resting the head. Yeah. All right. And then feel free to walk the hands up the chair again or up your legs, coming all the way upright, floating the arms up, taking the hands back down through center, standing. In mountain pose, you're welcome to release the arms. Check in with the breath here. All right, really nice. Now let's continue on with a little bit of that movement. So at any time, if you're like, oh, I feel a little dizzy, maybe don't go down as far. If lowering your head below the heart just doesn't feel great, keep the hands higher, right? Up on the back of the chair. And just keeping the head a little higher. You don't have to go down as far, okay? And you can always just move a little slower and take a break in stillness, slowing the breath down as best you can in and out through the nose if you find yourself getting dizzy. So let's begin here. We're going to add on to the movements. Let's feel the inhale, floating the arms up again. Feel the exhale, taking ourselves down through center, hands landing on the chair for support if you'd like, and releasing just as far forward as feels good. Right? You might just bring your chin towards your chest, find a nice stretch in the back of the neck. And then feel as you inhale. You're going to straighten your arms a little more. That's it. Lifting up wider through the chest, right? And then walking your feet back until you're in downward dog. Hips above the heels. Head reaching forward to the hands. Feel another breath there. All right, and then let's go ahead and step our right foot forward towards the seat. That's it. So depending on how far you want to go, you could take your left foot even further back, right foot further forward, finding a longer stance. It's up to you. And you'll notice probably a good stretch right here in the back of that left calf. So we can push down through that left heel. It's okay if it's a little bit off the ground, just sort of reaching it back in that direction. Feel your chest wide to the front. And then let's push into our left hand and twist open to the right. Yeah, so taking the right arm to stretch out. And then let's swing it down, swing it forward, circle it up just as high as feels good. Arm behind you and down again. So finding the range that feels good, whether your hand is drawing the circle more out to the side rather than up overhead, that's okay, right? That's it. And then letting yourself stay into this twist. So Sending the arm maybe back to the wall behind you as you twist in this direction, opening to the right. Let's feel another breath. Pushing strongly down through that left thigh, left heel, I mean. Great. Okay, taking it back to center. Hands on the chair, whether it's the seat or the back of the chair. We're going to step back with our right foot into downward dog again. That's it. Feeling your downward dog here for a couple more slow cycles of breath. All right, and then this time I'll show the version with the hands on the back of the chair. So let's send, step, left foot forward. That's it. So we can feel as we push down through our right heel. You might have to shift where your feet have landed. Maybe you want to walk that right foot a little further back or forward. Yep. Find where you're nice and strong and stable. Pushing down through that right heel is going to stretch into that calf a little more. You can always ease off by letting the knee stay a little bent. Okay. And then we're going to keep the right hand on the chair and sweep and twist a little more to the left. And then we can start to circle this arm. Lower it down, sweep it forward, stretch it up or out to the side, and back and down again. That's it. These slow circles. Loosening into the shoulder, loosening into the spine. That's it. Nice. And then when you're ready for it, let's hold that bit of a twist. Again, finding where your spine turns as you keep pushing back into that right heel. Where do you notice the breath now? Excellent. All right, taking it back to center, hands on the chair. We're going to step our left foot back, walking back in a downward dog, right? So let's find the feet under the hips, soften a little through the knees. As the hips, sitting bones, tailbone reach back to the wall behind you, feel your head move forward more. It's like you're being gently lengthened in each direction. Breathing in the middle. That's it. And then let's walk our feet forward until we're all the way back upright. Yeah, that's it. Okay, really nice. Whew. Okay, let's find a little bit of a wide-legged movement through the sides of the body. So for this one, you might even just keep your hands on the back of the chair or have the seat of the chair facing you if you want to go down a little further. Okay. And take your feet wider apart. So I'd say definitely wider than shoulder distance, or at least as wide as shoulder distance, I guess. Yep. And turning your toes out a little more than your heels. So that now when we go ahead to bend our knees, we're going to encourage our knees to move away from each other. So let's slowly just straighten up again. You could maybe take your hands, if you're feeling steady and stable, take your hands to those inner thighs, and as you bend your knees, encourage your knees to move away from each other a little more. And then pushing into the feet to come back up. Pressing down or out through the knees. As you go down with the hips, can you try to minimize the leaning of the upper body forward? So rather than going forward as you bend your knees, try to find more knee movement, hips going straight down, chest staying relatively upright. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to work into the back a lot more. Work into the knees. That's it. Really nice. Okay, so you're welcome to have hands on the back of the chair for this. As you bend your knees, let's keep them bent. Good. And just feel another breath here, or you can take your arms out. Elbows bent around shoulder level, backs of the hands pushing towards the wall behind you for one more breath. Really nice. And then let's stand up again. Whew. Feeling the change in our legs. Really nice. Good. Let's walk our feet back in. And then let's take ourselves back to the seat. So as we sit, let's once again take ourselves a little over to the right. So I'm going to face more to the right with my whole upper body, and right knee and toes are going to face forward. But what I'd suggest is coming more towards the front of the chair so that the left side of your body from sort of hips down are off the edge of the seat. So you just want to be stable though. You might take your right arm to rest or hold onto the back of your chair. And so I've scooched back a little bit too, so my whole right thigh is supported on the seat. So if though you notice that your foot is coming off the floor, just scooch forward so that your foot can land on the ground, ideally for this. And then let's see if we can take our left foot, right, moving it behind us a little bit. So you might even just sort of try to slide your foot. Now this is a little tricky on the toes. Sliding the foot back just as far as this hip lets you take it, okay? So you're going to probably feel a bit of a stretch coming into the front of this left hip. Yep, pushing back through that heel. You could also stay on the top of the foot if that feels better for you. That's another option, okay? All right, let's send the left arm to stretch up and lift up from your left hip. So imagine your arm starts from your hip, lengthening through the side of the body, and then maybe even taking that length a little to the right, right? So you're going to arc your body to the right. Feeling the breath here. Wonderful. And then taking it back through center with the arm lowering, walking that left foot back to the floor and switching sides. So maybe I'll just turn so you can see a little more on this side. So left knee is facing forward to the side of your chair. And then you're walking back enough to let this left thigh rest on the seat. Left foot still ideally on the floor. Left hand on the back of the chair for support. So then we can start to find movement through this right hip, right? So can we maybe sort of swing at the knee? Swing the knee a little forward, swing the knee a little back. Yeah. And then how far back can you go on this side, right? Where your right knee is either under your hip or maybe even a tiny bit behind it. It all depends how it feels in the front of that right hip. This is where we're stretching. So can we send still the spine tall, shoulders above the hips, head above the shoulders, and then feel that length continue up through the right arm, lifting upwards and then letting that take you into a bit of an arc to the left. That's it. Finding some nice space now into this right side for a couple breaths. Wonderful. All right, taking your time to bring yourself back through center, Right foot to the floor and scooching back to sitting on your chair. Walking your feet a little wider apart, so letting your knees go in and out. You can also roll on the ankles this way. Out on those baby toes, in on the big toe sides as the knees move in and out. So we loosen into our hips. Really good. And then let's find one last stretch for the backs of the legs. So starting at the front of your seat, hands could be on the chair, stretching your legs out so you've got your heels down, toes and knees pointing up. If you already know that things are feeling tight today in the backs of the legs, just let the knees stay a little more bent. And then we can try to fold forward like we're trying to bring our belly closer to our thighs. That's it. Push through the heels forward, so that'll bring the toes back towards your shins. Yeah, and this might feel really good just to stay here. Hands are welcome to stay on the chair, or they could also land on your legs, just wherever it is they happen to relax. And then feel free to find a gentle release into your back. A little more of that rounded stretch here into the back for another breath or two. Good, and then pushing down into your feet, to slide your hands back upright. Walking the feet back so that we can sit once again into our chair. And let's take a few moments here, softening the weight of the body into the support of the seat, down through hips and thighs, resting your feet into the floor, letting your arms rest, so tucking the elbows in, letting them sort of hang down from your shoulders, relaxing the hands on your thighs, and allowing here, once again, softness to come into the face as you close your eyes or soften your gaze away from the screen, tuning in to sense each breath. And how has the breath changed? Here at the end of your practice, having moved your body more through spine and shoulders and hips, feel the nature of your breath, moving your body, perhaps a little more easily and freely. Noticing the natural pace of your breath and just letting it stay in that slower, steadier rhythm for a few more cycles. And then come back to sense yourself resting here, feeling your connections with the ground and with the chair. Deepening the breath slowly, sensing the space around you. And starting to find little movements through fingers and toes, head and neck. Yeah, opening and closing the hands, curling and spreading the toes, turning the head side to side or ear to shoulder. Letting the eyes open when you feel ready for that. Yeah, I feel like some wrist circles, maybe some ankle circles in each direction. And you're ready for the rest of the day. Thank you so much for joining me today. It was a pleasure to have you here. Namaste.